Hello friends! In the previous video we've created the screen in the middle. Today we will try to create the one on the right with charts, buttons or chips and all other stuff. I will show you how I see it in the terms of Flutter widgets. So, at the top we've got the up bar in here. Below we've got the list view, which is scrolled in the horizontal axis, and in that list view we've got some buttons which we can probably select to filter which kind of type of spending to display. Under that we've got the two elements, probably in a column. We can put it in a column. It's text and another text. Below we've got the chart with this is the whole chart with some kind of header. In the header we've got another column with text and another text, and we've got a selection button or pop-up button when we probably can select a weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever time frame to display the chart. So this thing looks like a row with column with two elements, and next element in the row will be this pop-up button or a selection button. We'll see how I implement it. This is the bar chart with bars for each day of the week. Not sure why it starts from Saturday and after Monday is Thursday, but never mind. For the chart we can use custom painter and create each bar separately and add some logic to display correct height, or we can use a package called flchart. Below that we've got two rows in a column. One row and another is basically the same with two elements, text and another text. And at the bottom we've got bottom navigation bar. Okay, so last time we created this page. Now we need to create some basic navigation. So when we click this button, we will be transferred to the page with the chart, like in here. For that, I will use IndexedStack widget. When using that widget, we can swap part of the page based on the index in the stack. I will show you in a moment how to do that, but first I'll make some cleanup. So the part which will stay will be the up bar and the bottom navigation bar, and we only change the body of the page. So this is our main file. This is our scaffold for all page and body, and in body we've got this part, and this part we need to switch when we click this button to the chart page. So I think the best way to do that is to extract this part as a separate widget. Okay, so let's create a new file called maybe main screen in a directory called screens. Main screen. Yes. And for now we can create a stateless widget. Import material, and instead of container we will return this content of the body. So Ctrl W to select this all, Ctrl X, and paste it here. We need to import relevant files, and in main we need to return main screen. It can be const widget. Save it. There should be no change. Now let's create an empty screen for the chart page. So let's say chart screen. Stateless chart screen. I need to import material. Yes, okay. And instead of container, let's return text. So you can see change. Screen. Maybe I wrap it in the center. All right, so we've got our chart screen, which is empty. And we've got our main screen, which is this part. And in our main file, we need to somehow switch the body so it will display either main screen, or chart screen. Depends on what button we click. So first we need to change our main widget with the scaffold and all to the stateful widget. That way we can change the state of the widget and change the index on the button click. Let's do that. Convert to stateful, and in our state we can add index, say selected index, and set it to 0 by default. And now in our body we can use IndexedStack. IndexedStack takes children as a parameter, so to have it easier we can wrap it with a row and replace row with IndexedStack. We will have 2 children for now. In the final app there's probably 5 for each one, but for our case we just need two. So first one is main screen, and the second one is the chart screen. Sorry, chart screen. Okay, this whole thing can be const, this whole list. So I will move this here. And IndexedStack takes index as well as a parameter to display correct screen in our case, and that index will be the index we put in the state, selected index. To change the selected index, we use these buttons in the navbar. So first, the nav button is for this page, this screen. So on pressed, we can use set state, and in set state we change selected index to be 0. And what else? We can use selected to be not true by default, but only when selected index is 0. Now this icon is for going to the chart screen. This is this one, I think. So on pressed, we set state to selected index to be 1, because we've got only two screens for now. This one is of index 0, main screen, and the chart screen is index 1. In the real app, in this list, there will be widgets for each screen, but we do just a simple example, so we've got only two elements. So in this one we can add also selected to be true when selected index equals 1, right? Let's see how it works. You see, the screen changes, the bottom navbar stays, and the top up bar stays. This is our chart screen, the simple one with the text for now, and we will work on it next. First, let's commit this change. Add basic chart screen. So this is what we need to do. Let's have some reminder. So the whole thing will be a column with basically 4 maybe elements. This one will be 1, the other one more, and the last one. Let's do that. So return column with bunch of children. Let's name the first child, where we will have the list with those buttons, maybe spending types. We don't have that widget yet, but we will create that. So I will comment it out. Next, let me resize to see that. Next, we will have some kind of header with spending. Maybe spending summary. Next we will have our chart with the header. So say spending chart. And at the bottom we've got some total expenditures, hard word. So maybe total spending. Let's comment it all for now. And let's work on each of these. So let's start with the simplest one, the bottom one, total spending. In our widgets, we can add widget total spending. It can be stateless for now. Import material. So this looks like a column with 2 rows, right? Return column, children. We can create a separate widget for each, but this is just too simple, so I create a row for each. And in each row will be text and text, right? So children of the row text, total expenditures, never use that word. And another text is the money spent. So it's $32,000. We need to escape the $. And we can we need to add some style. This one is this one is barely visible, so the color will be, say, colors black 38 maybe. And the other text, let me close this. The other text is bold. So text style, font weight bold. And let's see how it looks like. We need to uncomment this. And we need to import this. Let's save it and see what we've got. So we need some space, right? We can wrap this first text in expanded. And I think we can leave it like this for now. So let's copy this, where we are, row, Control D, and change this one to taxes. And this was, what was it? 900 in taxes, okay. let's make this all const. This one as well. It looks like this. So we can add some space between those rows. So sized box of height 8. That's enough. Const, obviously, for better performance. Later on we will add some padding. Let's commit. Add total spending. Next, what we have next? The easy one is spending summary. So this will be column as well. Let's create this. Stateless. Import material as usual. So it will be a column with 2 children. First text, obviously. Text and another text as well, right? So in a real app, it will change the text depends on what user clicks on the chart probably, and in this type spending on which button. So for example, if a user clicks on travel and Monday, it should show travel expenditures on Monday. If buy games, it should show buy games expenditure or Monday or whatever day a user clicks. But I won't do that. I just put the literal string here. So the first text will be all expenditures on Monday. All spending, okay. On Monday. The second one will be $12,300. We need to escape dollar, and we can make that const. We need to change the style. So for this one, we can use the same style as this one. Okay, and for the amount of money, we need some boldness, right? Font weight bold, and font size, let's say 36 maybe. Save it. Let me format it better. So we've got column with 2 texts. Now we need to have it on the here, right? Spending summary, uncomment, import, save it, and let's see how it looks like. Something like this. Okay, let's commit. add spendings. Next, we'll create spending types widget, so we can display those buttons or chips or whatever in a list. Let's do that in our widgets. Create spending types. Stateless. Import material. So in here we will have a list view, horizontal list view with, let's say, buttons where user can click and change the spending type. So let's start with creating this single button. Let's name it spending selector, maybe spending type selector. I made it private, so it's only visible in this file. Sorry, type. And instead of container, let's return OutlinedButton. We need on pressed. I put it empty callback, and child will be text with some data. So let's have it here. The data of the text as a parameter. On pressed we can have as parameter as well, and we have some changes of color and font, so we need some kind of selected state as a parameter. So let's say, sorry, final bool selected. Selected. Final string text and final void callback on pressed. We need to add them here. I add comma for better formatting, and we need all these. Actually, selected can be by default false, and this should be required. This as well. And in text we need text, right, from the constructor. On pressed. And what else? Why do we need selected? We need that to change the background color of the button. So let's check how it looks like. For now, we will return just spending type selector here with text, say travel, and on pressed empty callback. Sorry. Let's uncomment, import, and let's see how it looks like. So by default, the color of the text is blue, and the roundness is not the same as here. Background is what is background? It's transparent, right? We've got only the outline. So let's change it. Okay, so how do we change it? To change the style of outline button, the easy method is to use a style parameter and outlined button style from, where we can change different parameters of the button. So what we should change? The color of the text. So the color of the child of the outline button will be in primary parameter. And now let's see how it looks like in here. When the button is not selected, the color is like gray. When it's selected, is black. So let's do that. So primary selected. If it's true, we use colors black. If it's not selected, we use colors gray. Okay, let's see if it's changed. Yeah, we see now the color of the text is gray because we've got selected set to false by default. Let's change it to true. Now we can see it's black. What else? We need the background when the button is selected to be kind of yellow. So we can use background color. When it's selected, it will be, let me check what color is it. I will copy paste. It's kind of yellowish. And if it's not selected, the background is null, right? Because there's no background. This can be const. Let's see. Yeah, we've got the yellow background. And if we change selected to, or actually comment it, we've got no background, just the border. Now to change the roundness of the button, we can use a property of shape. So it's going to be rounded rectangle border. Let's say border radius to border radius all with radius circular maybe 8, right? And let's see how it affects. Yeah, we've got the button more around than before. By default is probably 4. Let's see how they got it. Maybe we can increase it to 12. Yeah, something like this. Add some commas for better styling. Add const. Remove const. That's confusing sometimes for the IDE. But whatever. So we can keep the button like this, I think. Now we need more buttons than just one. So instead of returning the button, the only one button, we need to return a list view. Right? List view. And we can use list view separated, so we can then create the space between each button as the separator, whatever is the correct pronunciation. First, let's add some commas for better formatting. So to build the list view, we need some kind of data. In a real app, it will come from an API or database, but in here we can create some mock data and use it to build the list view. So let's create some list of strings, maybe spending types, this list of type string, and in here we'll have all travel by games, internet, and so on. This is just to show you how it will look like. By games, internet, I don't know, electricity. And based on that list, we will build our list view. So item count will be the length of this list. So spending types length. Separator builder. It's going to be sized box with, let's say 8. What's the problem here? We need build context and index probably. So we don't use it here, so we can replace it with underscores. Item builder takes context and index, and we will build our spending type selector in here. So return spending type selector. Each text will be based on the list, so on those strings. So first we can get like first we can get an item based on index. Final say type or spending type to be more precise. So spending type will be a string from this list based on the index, this index. So we can do spending types at index. Now, when we got that spending type, we can into texts put spending type. Sorry, and on pressed will be an empty callback for now. Let's save it and let's see how it looks. Now we can add const here. And you can see everything is gone. So why that could happen? Let's check our run tab. And we can see we've got vertical viewport was given unbounded height. It's because we use ListView, and ListView we will need some constraints to be displayed properly. Oh, one more thing, we need this ListView to be scrolled in horizontal axis like this. So we need to add that here. It's scroll direction, axis horizontal. And to constrain the list view, we can, in our chart screen, wrap it maybe in sized box. And give it some height. Let's say 60. And see what happens. Now we've got our list view back. We can scroll it. And the height of the buttons depends on the height of the sized box, right? I can show you 40. The buttons got smaller. So I think we can keep it at 40 here. What else? In the design, we've got some space between the first item and the border. In here, we don't have that space. How can we add it? Let's go back to our widget. And the list view has a property called padding, which adds padding on each side of the list view. Let's let's make it 16. It added padding on top as well, so we don't need all, just horizontal, symmetric and horizontal. Make it const. Now we've got our padding in here and over here at the end of the list. We can commit it at this point. Add spending types list. We can make one of the button to be selected like in here. So to do that, we can make selected here if the index is, let's say, 1. So when index equals 1, right? That way this button is selected. In the real app you need some other logic based on your database or whatever. We can amend our latest commit, so this change is included. Okay, let's go back to our design. The last thing we need, and the most important, is this bar chart. First we will create this row with the column of text and this pop-up button, and later we create this chart. Our chart screen, we need to create the spending chart widget. Let's make it stateless for now. Import material, and in here we have a column, right? Column with 2 rows. One row will be this widget, let's name it the chart header, and the other will be the chart. So let's return column with children. This chart header will be local to this file, so it will be private chart header and chart. We need to create both. So chart header first. And in here we will return column, row with column and the pop-up button widget. Row, children. First child will be column with 2 text widgets. Children text. First is expenditures chart. Expend chart. And we can add style. Font weight will be bold as usual for in here. Okay. I close it so you can see more. And we need to duplicate that. In here we can see fast analysis. Fast analysis. It's no longer bold, but we can add some gray colors, black 38 maybe. Okay, let's save it. We can add const here. So we've got our row, we've got first part of the row, which is this column. Now we need this button, which after click will display some pop-up when we can select weekly, monthly, yearly, or whatever we want. To build this pop-up button, we've got a couple options in Flutter. One is to use dropdown button, but I found it very awkward to style, so I prefer pop-up menu button widget, which is much more user-friendly and easier to style. So let's go with pop-up menu button. So our row column with text ends here. Next we have pop-up menu button. Now the item builder in here takes some items and builds the pop-up window based on that, so we can give it some dummy data, like let's say list of options, maybe pop-up options, and we can have like weekly, monthly, and I don't know, yearly. And in item builder we need to map those pop-up options to pop-up menu item. So we've got to return pop-up options and map it to map. E is our option, so let's name it option. And we don't want to return null, but we want to return a pop-up menu item. Pop-up menu item. Child of that item will be text widget with data, with the text string will be this option, right? Because it's from the pop-up options map. Option. What else we need? We need to convert it to list, right? Format, and should be 5. We map this list to pop-up menu item where the child is text with the option, so which option will be the next item on the pop-up menu button. Okay, so let's see how it looks so far. We need to uncomment chart header here and spending chart here. It's imported. Save it. It looks like this. We should fix it. So chart header. This column should be in expanded. Grab with widget expanded. Okay, and the default alignment in column is center. We need to change it to start, cross-axis alignment start. Alright, we've got it. Now this is the default pop-up button, and we can see those options: weekly, monthly, yearly. Now we need to style this button to look more like this one, right? how can we do that? So we can see in the button is a row with text and the icon. So in the pop-up menu button, we can use parameter child, and in here we can put a row with children text, what will be the text? The text will be the value of one of the selected option, but we can hard code it to be option for weekly just now. So pop-up options at index 0, and next thing in the row will be this icon arrow down. So icons, arrow down. I'm looking for the similar one, maybe this one. Okay. Let's see what we've got now. Yeah, we've got our button, but without the outline. So we can create the outline using material widget. Let's wrap the pop-up menu button in material. And add some shape. Rounded rectangle border. Side. Border side. Colors, say gray, and border radius, all, radius circular 12 maybe. And let's see how it changed. We've got our border, and we need to add some padding, right? So to the child of the pop-up menu button, we can add padding. So we wrap this row with a padding. See, something like this. We can add more horizontal padding on the left. So instead of all, we can use from LTRB, and in here we can specify for left maybe 16, top 8, right 8, and bottom 8. Yeah, something like this. Let's add some constants, remove some constants, and what next? Next we need to add, or maybe some space in here. So it was between the texts, sized box, height of 8. Yeah, something like this. Later on we will add padding between all these items. We also need to fix the issue with the splash going out of the borders. Not sure if you see, but the gray area goes out of the rounded rectangle. So to do that, in our material, we can set clip behavior to clip anti-alias, and it should be fixed. You see, now the gray splash does not go out of the border. Next, we need to create the chart itself. To do that, we will use the Dart package called flchart or flcharts. This one. We can add this to our PubSpec YAML. We can create all kinds of charts with it. We need this simple bar chart for our case. So let's copy the name and add it to our project. PubSpec YAML. When we have it, let's add it under Cupertino items. Save it, run pubget. Check with if PubSpec log changed. Sometimes it doesn't affect. Sometimes running pubget doesn't work for the first time, but we can see PubSpec log changed, so it should be fine. Okay, so let's go back to our spending chart. And in here, we need to add our bar chart in our column under the chart header widget. So it will be this chart. Let's create that widget now. Chart, and this will return bar chart. We need some data. It's going to be another element from the flchart library. It's called bar chart data. Okay, I leave it for now and see how it looks at the moment. Save it. Let's do the hot restart just in case. We've got issue with the chart. Let's wrap it with expanded, so it will take the size which it needs, and this column, which is spending chart, I think it also needs to be wrapped in expanded. Save it. Yeah, so we've got our chart in here. but it's empty, so that's why we see the error. Let's work on that. Okay, so first we need some fake data to display in the chart. So for that we can create a class, maybe daily spending, and it will have string day and spending as an int for, let's say, now let's create constructor. Okay, and now we can create a list of daily spendings for each day of the week. So let's say final spendings of type daily spending, and day Monday spending, let's say, I don't know, let's copy that a few times, edit Monday, Tuesday spending, different spending for each day, so we can see okay, something like this. So based on this list, we will build our chart. So in our bar chart data, we will have a lot of properties. You see all of them. Let's start with maybe max y. It will show the maximum value on the y-axis. What this value will be. We can calculate this based on the spending and choose the biggest value from all of them. So let's here we can create some kind of temporary value, say max value, and based on spendings we can use map and each spending we can reduce that and use max in here without the function, just max. Okay, so this will calculate the max value from all these values. So we can put that in our chart. max value. We've got an error because the max value will be an int and max y needs a double. So we can do 2 double and we should be fine with this. So next we need bar groups, and this is list of those bars which we can create based on our spendings list. So let's use for loop for int I equals 0, e less than spendings length, a plus plus. So when we loop over this list, we need to display a bar group for each one. So it's called bar chart road data, or am I mistaken? No, bar chart group data. So the x is y, so the x is I, the index, the list. Next we have bar rows. So it's a list of bar chart rows, bar chart row data, and in here we've got 2y, so it will tell us how on y-axis how big is our bar. So it's based on spending at index, spending 2 double, I think. Yes, something like this. And let's see if we have anything visible at this point. Yeah, we've got our basic bar chart. It's not as good looking as we want to create, but it's a start. Maybe we can limit the spending on Sunday, so it's not as different as in any other days. Maybe to 15. Save it. We need to reload. To see the effect. Yeah, something. We can play with these values, but that's not the most important. Let's go back to creating the correct look of this chart. So it should look like this. No borders around it. No background, just the bars and name of the day at the bottom. Commas for formatting, and we've got the property of grid data, and to make it invisible we need to use fl grid data and make it show false. Save it. Now the grid is gone. Now we need to remove those borders and only have the bars and names at the bottom. So to remove the borders, or maybe I add the comments, remove background grid. Now remove the borders. For that we will use border data and FL border data show false. Save it. We have no borders. Now we need to remove those titles on left, right, and at the bottom we need to put our name of the weeks. So to do that, we need titles. We need the property called titles data. FL titles data. And in here we've got left titles. Axis titles. It's called site titles. Site titles and show titles false. Those on left are gone. We need to do the same for top and right, so let's duplicate that. Here will be top titles, right titles. Save it. And those are gone. And now we need to fix the bottom titles. So bottom titles will be axis titles, same as before. And in here, we need to have site titles, and in here, what do we need? We need some get titles widget property when we have value and meta, whatever that is. And in here, based on our spending this list, we need to put these names as the bottom titles, right? So we can do one day as a final day equals spending, sorry, and value because this needs to be the index of our list, and value is like a value of each of this bar. I think it's from the xi, so it needs to be value to int and day. And we return text with day, this day, and let's see how it looks like. Something wrong. What happened? By mistake we imported Dart HTML. Let's remove it, save it, and what, we don't see the values at all. Why is that? I think we need in here property show titles. Let's see. Yes, now we can see the titles at the bottom. Let's maybe add some padding. Rub with padding. And it went down, so maybe we add padding only at the top. So only top 8. Okay, so we've got some padding here. Let's add some commas for better formatting. And maybe commit at this point. Add spending chart. Sorry, add spending chart widget. Let's see what we else needs to do. We need to work on the color of these bars. So that will be in bar chart road data. Can use color. It's going to be color. I checked it before. 0xff EC. Let's have a look how it's now. Yeah, they are gray. We need them like wider. So the property for that is width. Let's make it 16 maybe. Yeah, something like this. And in here they are rounded a bit at the top, but not at the bottom. So it's border radius, border radius only, top left, radius circular, let's say 4, and the same for top right. Okay, let's see. Yeah, the bottom is flat and the top is rounded a bit. Okay, what else? In here we see that there is some line at the bottom. Let's implement that. So for that we need I think, where we've got our border data, we've got all set to false, but we need just the bottom one. So it will be, instead of show false, we need border bottom and border side with 1 and color same color as before. So O X F F EC EC EC. And it can be const. Sorry. Save it. Let's see how it looks like right now. Yeah, we've got the border at the bottom. Now let's add the padding around the column. So let's go back to our chart screen and we can add padding around the whole column. Let's see how it works. Let's say 16. Yeah, we've got the padding everywhere, but there is a problem with that when we move the list view, we can see it crops in here. So what to do to avoid that? We need to move the spending types, which is this widget, away from this padding. Let's wrap it again with a column. So let's move these spending types together with sized box, cut it, and put it as first child of this column. Save it. Now this all is gone. When we use a column inside another column, we need to write the child in expanded, so the topmost column will know how much space takes each child. So let's wrap padding in expanded. Expanded. Save it. Now we've got it back, and when we scroll the list view, it goes out without the cropping. Let's add some spaces between summary and the chart. So size box height, let's say 12. And in here as well. Something like this. Let's make it all constant. Nope. Let's make it all constant. We need to remove those and make all the children constant. Right? Right. Save it. Let's add some padding between this chart header and the chart itself. So spending chart in here, height 12 maybe. Yeah, something like this. The last thing I'd like to show you is how you can add a touch callback to those bars, because you can't just wrap them in gesture detector or Inkwell. It's impossible with this FL chart package. And when we will add them, you'll be able to tap on a bar and see the change in the color. Let's go to our chart, and in here we can add bar touch data as one of the parameter of this bar chart data. It takes bar chart data with touch callback, and this callback takes P0. It's an event according to the documentation and examples, and P1 is response. So for now, let's add print statement here and see event. Let's save it. And when I click, you can see number of prints. Now we need to filter those event and response. According to the documentation, we can do something like if response is not equal null and event is of type FL tap up event, we can do something here. But to change the state of the widget, we need to have stateful widget in here. So let's make it stateful. And what state we need to change? We need to have some indicator which bar is clicked or tapped. So let's say tap index and set it to -1 for start, so nothing is tapped at the start. And if the response is not null and event is FL tap up event, so when we tap down and up, so it's like on pressed, then we can run set state, and in set state we can assign a tab index to be response spot and touched bar group index. It is nullable, so first we need to check if response spot is not null, then we run this assignment. Now if it's not null, we can use bang operator. And okay, that way we will change this tab index, and based on this tab indexed, we will change the color of tabbed bars. Okay, so let's go and see our colors. Bar chart row data. We've got our color and we need to change it to green when tab index is equal to the currently tabbed bar. So the I, because I is for the for data for currently tabbed bar. So if this is true, then we use color. Let me paste the value here for the green. And if that's not currently tabbed bar, we use the gray color. Let's see if it works. You see, the color changes whatever bar we tap. We can also change the weight of the font or the color actually, used for the description of the bar. So let's do that. It was in this text, so let's add style, text style. Let's add color, and when the color is black, the color is black when the tab index equals the current value to int, so it's our index of our bar. So value to int. When that's true, we will show the colors black. If that's not true, let's show colors in gray, maybe shade 400. Let's save it and see the result. You see, color changes, the font changes. Everything works as it should, I think. Let's check our Dart analysis. Add const everywhere. Okay, our errors are gone. And I think I can leave it like this. Let's commit. Style. And that is all for today. Thanks for watching. If you have any ideas, just let me know. Thank you.